Have you ever felt like some people just aren't worth your time or energy? What if I told you that Stoic philosophy can help you identify who to keep at arm's length? In today's video, we're uncovering the 9 types of people you should be cautious about trusting or respecting. From manipulative friends to gossipers, we'll delve into how recognizing these traits can lead to a more serene and fulfilling life. Curious about who might be draining your energy? Let's dive into these 9 red flags and learn how Stoicism can guide you in building a healthier, more peaceful inner circle. Hey everyone, welcome back to Quotes and Relax 95. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on our insights into living a more mindful life. Number 1, manipulative friends. Manipulative friends are those who subtly or overtly try to control your actions, decisions, and emotions to serve their own interests. They often disguise their manipulation as concern, advice, or support, making it difficult to recognize their true intentions. These friends may use guilt, flattery, or even fear to steer you in a direction that benefits them, leaving you feeling indebted or obligated to comply. Over time, this behavior can erode your sense of autonomy and self-worth, as you may start doubting your own judgment and choices. It's crucial to recognize the signs of manipulation, such as when someone consistently dismisses your opinions, pressures you into decisions, or makes you feel guilty for prioritizing your own needs. True friendship should be rooted in mutual respect, trust, and genuine care, where both parties support each other's growth and well-being. If you find yourself in a relationship where you're constantly second-guessing your actions or feeling drained after interactions, it might be time to reassess the friendship. Setting clear boundaries is essential in protecting yourself from manipulation. By asserting your own needs and desires, and not allowing others to dictate your actions, you reclaim control over your life. It's also important to communicate openly about how you feel. Sometimes, manipulative behavior is unintentional, and bringing it to light can help resolve underlying issues. However, if the manipulation persists despite your efforts to address it, it may be necessary to distance yourself from the relationship. Surround yourself with people who uplift and empower you, rather than those who seek to control or diminish you. In doing so, you create a support system that fosters your growth, confidence, and well-being. Number 2, constant critics. There will always be people who seem to take pleasure in finding faults, pointing out flaws, and criticizing without offering any constructive feedback. These constant critics can be exhausting to deal with because their negativity can drain your energy and chip away at your confidence. It's important to understand that their criticism often says more about them than it does about you. Many of these individuals project their own insecurities and frustrations onto others, using criticism as a way to feel superior or in control. They might be dealing with their own unmet expectations or unresolved issues, and instead of addressing those, they focus on tearing others down. When faced with constant critics, it's crucial to maintain a sense of perspective. Not all criticism is bad. Constructive feedback is valuable for growth. However, the key difference with constant critics is that their feedback lacks any intention to help or support you. They are more interested in highlighting your flaws than in seeing you improve. Recognizing this can help you distance yourself emotionally from their words. Rather than internalizing their negativity, view their criticism as a reflection of their mindset. This detachment allows you to protect your self-esteem and continue progressing toward your goals without being derailed by their negativity. One effective strategy in dealing with constant critics is setting clear boundaries. Politely but firmly, let them know that you are open to constructive feedback, but you do not welcome criticism that offers no solutions. This not only protects your mental well-being, but also sends a message that you value growth and positive change. It can also discourage constant critics from directing their negativity toward you, as they realize their words have less impact. Another approach is to practice empathy without letting their negativity affect you. Understanding that constant critics often struggle with their own issues can help you view them with compassion rather than frustration. This doesn't mean you have to accept their criticism, but it allows you to respond with calmness rather than defensiveness. By maintaining your composure, you show that their words do not define you and that you are confident in your abilities and path. Additionally, surrounding yourself with positive influences can counterbalance the effects of constant critics. Seek out people who support, encourage, and offer constructive feedback. These individuals can provide the affirmation and guidance you need to continue growing and improving. Their positive energy can help you stay focused on your goals and remind you that not everyone views you through the lens of constant criticism. Number 3, promise breakers. Those who make promises but rarely keep them often leave a trail of disappointment and mistrust in their wake. At first glance, their intentions may seem genuine. Perhaps they truly believe they can fulfill their commitments. However, whether due to lack of integrity, overcommitment, or simply a disregard for others, their actions tell a different story. The constant breaking of promises not only erodes relationships, but also damages the credibility of the promise breaker themselves. Trust is the foundation of any meaningful connection, and once it's broken, it's challenging to rebuild. People who consistently fail to keep their word create an environment of uncertainty and frustration, leading others to question their reliability in all aspects of life. Over time, those around them may begin to distance themselves, no longer willing to invest emotionally or professionally in someone who doesn't value their own commitments. In Stoic philosophy, keeping one's word is a matter of honor and integrity, central to living a virtuous life. A Stoic would argue that a person's word should be as binding as any written contract. When you make a promise, you are not just committing to an action, but to the very essence of who you are. Consistently breaking promises not only reflects a lack of respect for others, but also a lack of respect for oneself. It's a failure to live up to one's own potential and values. The Stoics also teach the importance of self-awareness and honesty. Before making a promise, one should consider whether they truly have the capacity and intention to keep it. This level of introspection helps avoid the pitfalls of overcommitting and ensures that when a promise is made, it is done with full conviction. The impact of broken promises extends beyond individual relationships. It can influence entire communities and organizations. In a professional setting, leaders who do not keep their promises erode team morale and create a culture of cynicism and disillusionment. Employees who witness their leaders breaking promises are less likely to trust them, leading to decreased motivation and productivity. In personal relationships, the repeated breaking of promises can lead to a cycle of hurt and resentment. Those who are repeatedly let down may develop feelings of inadequacy or worthlessness, questioning why they are not important enough to be considered. To break this cycle, it's essential for promise breakers to acknowledge the harm they have caused and take steps toward rebuilding trust. This begins with taking responsibility for their actions, sincerely apologizing, and making amends where possible. Moving forward, they must practice making promises sparingly and only when they are certain they can keep them. This change requires a deep commitment to personal growth and a reevaluation of one's values. In doing so, promise breakers can begin to restore their integrity and rebuild the trust they have lost. Ultimately, the true measure of a person lies not in their intentions, but in their actions. Being someone who keeps their promises is not just about fulfilling obligations. It's about embodying the principles of reliability, respect, and honesty. These are the qualities that foster strong, enduring relationships and create a legacy of trustworthiness that will be remembered long after individual promises have faded from memory. Number 4, habitual liars. Individuals who frequently lie or exaggerate the truth often create a distorted reality that eventually entangles them in their own web of deceit. For habitual liars, lying becomes a reflex, a coping mechanism to navigate social situations, protect their ego, or gain perceived advantages. However, the more they lie, the more they distance themselves from authentic connections, as trust is the cornerstone of any relationship. Over time, these lies compound, leading to a fragile house of cards that can easily collapse, leaving the liar exposed and isolated. Habitual liars might initially believe they are in control, but in reality, they become prisoners of their own falsehoods, constantly needing to keep track of the lies they've told to maintain their facade. This relentless cycle can take a toll on their mental health, leading to anxiety, stress, and a perpetual fear of being discovered. Furthermore, habitual lying often stems from deeper psychological issues, such as low self-esteem, insecurity, or a fear of rejection. These individuals might feel that the truth is inadequate or that their real self is unworthy of acceptance, so they fabricate stories to present a more appealing version of themselves. This pattern, however, only exacerbates their underlying issues, as the temporary relief provided by lying is overshadowed by the long-term consequences of broken trust and damaged relationships. In some cases, habitual lying can be a symptom of more severe conditions, such as narcissistic personality disorder or compulsive lying disorder, pseudologia fantastica, where the individual lies compulsively and often without a clear motive. Addressing habitual lying requires a deep introspection and a willingness to confront the root causes of the behavior. Therapy or counseling can be invaluable in this process, helping the individual develop healthier coping mechanisms and rebuild their self-worth based on honesty and authenticity. It also involves a commitment to change and a conscious effort to break the habit, which can be challenging but is essential for restoring integrity and trust in their relationships. The path to overcoming habitual lying is not easy, but with dedication and support, it is possible to cultivate a life rooted in truth, where real connections can flourish, and the individual can finally escape the exhausting cycle of deceit. Number 5, two-faced individuals. There's nothing more unsettling than realizing someone you trusted is a two-faced individual. Someone who smiles warmly in your presence, but sharpens their words when you're not around. These people often have hidden agendas, using flattery and false kindness as a mask to disguise their true intentions. They might do this out of insecurity, jealousy, or a desire to manipulate situations to their advantage. It's important to recognize that their behavior is more about them than it is about you. They may be projecting their own inner conflicts, insecurities, or feelings of inadequacy onto others. By speaking ill of you behind your back, they attempt to diminish your value in the eyes of others, perhaps because they feel threatened by your achievements, character, or relationships. Dealing with two-faced individuals requires a balance of wisdom and self-control. The Stoics remind us to focus on what we can control, our actions and responses, rather than getting consumed by the deceit of others. Instead of seeking confrontation or revenge, which only drags you down to their level, it's more empowering to rise above their pettiness. Maintain your integrity and let your actions speak louder than their words. Over time, a person's true nature will reveal itself to others, and the facade they've built will eventually crumble. It's also important to remember that people who engage in such behavior often lead troubled lives themselves. Their duplicity might stem from a lack of self-awareness or unresolved personal issues. By understanding this, you can approach the situation with a sense of compassion, not for their actions, but for the inner turmoil they may be experiencing. This doesn't mean you tolerate their behavior or allow them to take advantage of you. On the contrary, it means setting clear boundaries and protecting your peace. One of the most powerful ways to deal with two-faced individuals is by practicing discernment in your relationships. Not everyone who seems friendly has your best interests at heart. By being cautious about who you trust and confide in, you can protect yourself from potential harm. Pay attention to the consistency between a person's words and actions. Those who are genuinely supportive will show it not just when you're around, but also when you're not. In dealing with such people, it's crucial to keep your circle of trust small and filled with those who have proven their loyalty over time. The Stoic principle of surrounding yourself with virtuous individuals is particularly relevant here. When you have a solid support system, the negativity of a two-faced person loses its power. You're better equipped to brush off their betrayal and continue moving forward with confidence. Finally, it's essential to practice forgiveness, not for their sake, but for your own peace of mind. Holding on to anger or resentment only weighs you down and gives them more power over your emotions. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing their behavior, but rather freeing yourself from the burden of their negativity. By letting go of the hurt they've caused, you reclaim your power and maintain your inner tranquility. Number 6, overpromisers. We all know someone who makes grand promises but rarely delivers. These are the overpromisers, individuals who pledge the world but leave us with nothing but empty words. The allure of an overpromiser is their ability to make us believe in the extraordinary, promising more than what is realistic or achievable. They often do so with good intentions, driven by a desire to please or to be perceived as capable. However, the reality often falls short of their promises, leading to disappointment and eroded trust. Overpromising can stem from various sources, such as a need to impress, fear of conflict, or an inability to manage time effectively. The constant cycle of promises followed by failure to deliver can create a pattern of distrust. This not only damages relationships, but also tarnishes the overpromiser's credibility over time. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of grand promises, but when these fail to materialize, the emotional toll can be significant. For the overpromiser, the challenge lies in managing expectations and recognizing the limitations of what they can realistically achieve. Instead of overextending themselves, they should aim for honesty and transparency. Promising less, but delivering more builds trust and reinforces reliability, qualities far more valuable than empty assurances. On the receiving end, dealing with an overpromiser requires a balanced approach. It's important to manage your expectations and communicate openly about past disappointments. Setting boundaries and holding the overpromiser accountable can also help mitigate the effects of their behavior. Encouraging them to commit to smaller, more achievable goals may result in more consistent follow-through. In the end, the cycle of overpromising and underdelivering can only be broken when both parties, those who make the promises and those who receive them, embrace a more realistic and grounded approach to commitments. The journey toward becoming a person of one's word, who delivers on promises, begins with understanding and addressing the root causes of overpromising. Number 7, self-centered individuals. Self-centered individuals often find themselves trapped in a narrow perspective, where their own desires and needs take precedence over everything else. This mindset leads them to overlook or dismiss the feelings, opinions, and well-being of those around them. They may rationalize their behavior by convincing themselves that their priorities are more important, or they might simply lack the empathy needed to consider how their actions affect others. Over time, this self-centeredness can erode relationships, as friends, family, and colleagues may feel unappreciated, ignored, or even exploited. This behavior can stem from various sources, including insecurity, fear of vulnerability, or an overdeveloped sense of entitlement. In many cases, self-centered people are not even fully aware of how their behavior impacts others. They might believe that everyone else should naturally align with their needs. However, this tunnel vision can lead to isolation as people grow weary of one-sided interactions. It's important to recognize that a self-centered approach to life ultimately limits personal growth and fulfillment. True connection and satisfaction arise from a balanced approach that values mutual respect, understanding, and shared experiences. When individuals begin to shift their focus outward and consider the perspectives and needs of others, they often find richer, more meaningful relationships and a deeper sense of community. Developing empathy and practicing self-reflection are crucial steps for anyone looking to overcome self-centered tendencies. By learning to listen, appreciate, and contribute to the lives of others, self-centered individuals can transform not only their relationships, but also their own inner sense of peace and purpose. Number 8, gossipers. Individuals who spread rumors or talk behind others' backs are often driven by insecurity, jealousy, or a desire for social validation. Gossiping is a way to gain attention or feel superior by diminishing others, but it ultimately reflects more on the gossiper than the person being talked about. Engaging in gossip creates a toxic environment, eroding trust and damaging relationships. It's important to recognize that the words we choose to share about others have power. They can build someone up or tear them down. Instead of indulging in harmful gossip, consider the Stoic practice of focusing on your own character and actions. The Stoics believe that one should speak only when it improves upon silence. By refraining from gossip, you not only protect your integrity, but also foster a more positive and respectful environment. When you hear gossip, it's wise to neither contribute to it nor pass it on. Instead, redirect the conversation to something constructive or gently remind the speaker of the impact their words can have. Remember that those who gossip to you are likely to gossip about you. Protecting yourself from gossip also means being discerning about the company you keep. Surrounding yourself with people who value honesty and kindness helps you maintain a clear and virtuous path. In the end, the way you speak about others says more about you than them. Choose your words wisely and aim to be a source of support, not division. Number 9, jealous individuals. Jealous individuals often struggle with their own insecurities, leading them to envy and undermine the success of others. Instead of celebrating another's achievements, they might engage in subtle or overt actions to diminish or sabotage what they perceive as a threat to their self-worth. This behavior stems from a scarcity mindset, the belief that success is a limited resource and someone else's gain is their loss. However, jealousy can be corrosive, not only harming relationships, but also eroding the well-being of the jealous individual. By focusing on others' achievements, they neglect their own growth and potential. Over time, this can lead to bitterness and resentment, creating a toxic cycle that's hard to break. For those who find themselves the target of such jealousy, it's crucial to maintain perspective. The Stoics teach us that we cannot control how others perceive or treat us, but we can control our reactions. Rather than engaging with or responding to envy-driven negativity, it's more productive to stay focused on one's own path. By continuing to strive for excellence and living with integrity, we can rise above the pettiness of jealousy. On the flip side, it's important to recognize when we ourselves might be feeling envious. Jealousy is a natural human emotion, but it can become destructive if not managed. Instead of letting it fester, we can use it as a tool for self-reflection. What is someone else's success triggering us? Is it a sense of inadequacy, a fear of failure, or a reminder of our unmet goals? By understanding the root cause of our jealousy, we can address these underlying issues directly, turning envy into motivation for personal improvement. Ultimately, the antidote to jealousy is a mindset of abundance and gratitude. When we appreciate what we have and recognize that there is enough success to go around, we become less likely to feel threatened by others' accomplishments. Cultivating a sense of contentment and focusing on our unique strengths and journey helps diminish the power of jealousy. After all, true success is not about outshining others, but about becoming the best version of ourselves.